Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. Oh my gosh. Hey everyone, welcome to another installment from Pro Engineering. This is going to be another buyer's guide, and for this one I wanted to continue talking about the Zip Zap SEs that we had a repair video on quite some time ago, and I'm sorry for the delay, but I've got a lot of irons in the fire over here. Anyway, we're here, so let's go ahead and start talking about them. Now there's a lot of accessories. One of them is not shown here, but I'm sure there's others. But in the meantime, let's talk about the cars. This video is going to focus on the Zip Zap SE and not the standard Zip Zap. They are very different in that the SE has proportional steering and throttle, but the standard Zip Zap does not. They've also got a significantly more skewed body shape. I'm not saying that these don't, because they also do, but to me those are significantly less attractive and not very appealing to drive. The standard Zip Zap SE comes with headlights and taillights. So if we turn these on, we'll turn that on here and the car on. They will not initially have the lights on until you accelerate or go in reverse. I'll put this here upside down and zoom in so you can see the proportional-ish steering. If you're into higher-end RC cars, then these aren't brilliant. But if I slowly move the steering knob, you can see that, it has perhaps 5 or 6 positions. Same with throttle control. And I'll try and get it going nice and slow. That is about as slow as I can get it to go. If we want to go faster, we can. So again, it is proportional. It was not an expensive car. I want to say around $35, probably around 2001, 2002. I got mine in 2002, this one here. These two came shortly after this one, so I've had all 3 of these since brand new. This one happens to be a new inbox one. You've got your Ford Mustang. It's the exact same body as this, except in blue. I believe it's called azure blue because I've got a car that color. Here you'll see how it comes. I believe some came with hotter motors than others. You had your hubcaps that would pop onto the wheel hubs there. It's just the main wheel. Your tires are rubber, which is really, really good. Here's your rear axle with adjustable gear ratio. This holds in the motor, and then down here is your radio. If anybody's looking to buy one of these brand new, please don't think it's going to work. It's just about 20 years old now. Trust me, the battery is dead. The good news is you can fix them. There's a link right now that just popped up on how to do that. We've repaired all 3 of these cars. They've all got relatively new batteries. Some are about 2 or 3 years old, and some are about a year old. We'll open up my Zip Zap carrying case, and this was a Radio Shack product. It was actually really, really neat. There's a door here that will open, revealing the bodies or the cars. In this case, I put my cars up here, and the bodies go here. Another Ford Mustang. Here we've got another Toyota 86. This one here was from the initial D series, so this is Takami's car. Here is the not 86. Was it the 85? I forget now. This is, was it Itsuki? I forget his name now. This one here, I love the RSX. This one's actually really cool because the headlights don't just light up. It actually has underbody lighting. So those will light blue, and I'll show you this later. This is really, really cool. I always dug this one. And here are a couple of the bare chassis. So when you pull the body off, you will unplug that, and that controls your lighting. Here is your antenna, and this is where the motor will drop in here, and you can see that as you drop the motor in, That is the positive side, and it grounds through those little taps right there. If you want to see how to take all this apart, that is also in the battery replacement video. I'm not going to do that here because that's not a standard part of the car. Here we have the servo with the little racks. So this has rack and pinion steering. And in fact, it has suspension. Check out the little shocks right there. The suspension is very, very soft. So we'll close that up and open the base. And in mine, I've got some of these cones and little signage that goes to the track. We'll see the track later. Here are my tires. And the tires, it's pretty important to note that the tires really need to be kept in a bag. Otherwise, the plasticizers that keep the tires soft will evaporate, and that's how they get hard. Here are some other wheels. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here. You got some torque thrust looking things, some Panasports. Look at those cylinder Libras. So these just black. Oh, these are spacers. These are spacers to install the wider rear wheels. These little black ones. Super cool stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. This is for a regular Zip Zap. You can see that there's no lighting, but the proportions of this were so good. Here are the motors, and the motor end bell corresponds to a different speed. These bigger ones are for the Zip Zap 4x4s, and yes, they did make a monster truck version. Here are the different gear, the axles with the corresponding counter gears. Spare antenna. They came with a lot of these little trading cards here. This one came with the Starsky and Hutch Torino, the Mustang Cobra. So here it's going to tell you which motor is what. Now, I believe there's a blue one that's even faster that came with the, yeah, right there. So there's a blue one right here. I believe that is the fastest one of the lot. So you are seeing the significant speed increase. The thing is, to have these going this fast, they're going to have to be on the ground. And I'll be very clear about this. These cars cannot drive on the ground. You will pack every rotating piece full of hair, dust, dirt. Impossible. You will destroy the vehicle. This is a tabletop vehicle only, so do not even think about putting one of these on the ground or even taking it outside. A clean desk or table, and that is it. That's why I really never got into dealing with the motors, because honestly, the slower these were, the better. Let's go ahead and put this one together. Now, this one, I don't think it works. I haven't changed the battery on it, so it's definitely not going to operate, but this will give us a good example of how to put the thing together. So we'll go to our motor bag, and now let's get some gears to put in this. Let's grab one of these red ones over here. Okay, we'll grab the red axle set, and I think we have to put in the counter gear first, just like that, and then the axle will, oh, from the bottom. Okay, there it goes from the bottom, and that snaps in place probably. It's been a while. There you go. And now we can take the motor, put the motor straight in. I think you have to angle it in like this. Yeah, just like that. This little motor retainer, it's maybe a little bit tricky. It's probably designed for smaller hands. And then there we go. Spin that in on top like this. Use the little screwdriver, and I'll show you where I got the screwdriver. So we've got all that together. We need to put wheels and tires on it, and yes, you can actually install wheels. There's a little tab here, right there, that orients it. You see this little slot and the tab. That'll just push right in there like that, and that is the same for all four. Now we'll pick the tires. They had some of these wide ones, and these came with a little spacer. You can see all the different tread patterns here. You know, slicks. You've got a, I don't know, an all-terrain. They very easily wrap over the rim, and the, there you go, just like that. There you go. And that is how they go. Make sure they're seated properly. So put all four of those on. All four wheels and tires installed, and we'll just route the little antenna here through the hole in the body. And I believe you slot the front in first. Seems like a little snug. Hope it fits. And then you can just go ahead and push the back down, push it out a little bit, and there we go. There's our little Beetle. The radio has the on and off switch right here. This car can run up to 6 different cars, and you set the frequency every time you turn the car on. It will default to 1 all the time. So if you take the car, set it to 4, set the frequency, which I'll show you how to do in a moment, shut the car off, turn it back on, it's back to 1. There's a little release button here, which moves that little snap back. And these things have charged hundreds of times, if not more, and there's never been an issue. This little slider here will slide open, and it runs 4 AAA batteries. So we'll put that in there. Turn on right there. Here is your antenna. Steering trim, which is fantastic. There is also a trim setting on the bottom. This, from what I can tell, is not directly driven to the tires. This is more of a potentiometer. Here is the neutral adjustment for the radio. And then here at the bottom, which is fantastic, is the little screwdriver. So this will allow you to set the neutral here. So let's show you how to program the car. Turn the radio on. Let's set this to 3. Turn the car on, engage the front snap right here, drop it on top. This is going to flash red until it glows solid red. You can see here it's solid red now. I think it turns green when it's done. We'll find out there. This one's set to 5, but you can see this car is off. If I turn this on and turn the radio on, the car won't respond. Setting this back to 1. And since it's here, I'll show you how these headlights work. As you see the bulb right there, taillights. Kind of a bummer that they turn on when you're going backwards, but whatever. Now the Torino is still charging. There it goes, turns to green. I think these are peak chargers because I've had each one of these cars take different amounts of time to charge up. So we'll pop that off. I do want to see if this battery is going to work at all or if the car even has any life. So let's just turn the car on and turn the radio on and see if we're going to have anything charge. The wheel move. Oh, we have some. Well, it's doing. Oh, okay. So the yellow light means there's a fault. It's trying to charge the battery, but the battery is really not accepting the charge. When you do have it fully charged, how long does it run? That's hard. I would say this, surprisingly long, but not long enough. One of these cars, I think it was this one here, initially we charged it up and it ran probably around, 4-5 minutes. Then it decided that it only wanted to run for about a minute, then about 30 seconds. Then I realized the batteries were dying in this. So then we recharged these batteries, put this car back on it, and it decided I want to run 2 minutes. I don't know. I wouldn't expect any more than 4 minutes out of one of these cars, and that's running pretty slow, but they charge in under 30 seconds. So they charge really fast, but they don't last particularly long. Pull the antenna. Well, I probably don't need to pull the antenna up here, but if you're going to drive it on the tabletop, you do want it up. And okay, so there we go. And I've seen some of that little jitteriness right there, but it's always done that. Okay, so headlights here. It does turn the high beam side up for some reason, but oh well. And I think the taillights always look really good on this because the car's body, I think, is molded in this tinted polycarbonate, and then it's painted. It's painted exceptionally well. In fact, let's take a look at some of these bodies up close. Obviously, these are made from a contract manufacturer in China. It's not saying who has made these, but they did a heck of a job. I mean, look at this. The tempo on the side, it's not messed up at all. It's smack dab on the wheel arch moldings, around the headlights. They really did a good job on this. So looking at the Mustang as well. And now these cars have been driven a lot, and there's really no signs of damage on them. Now, granted, I've been the one driving them and I'm pretty careful with them, but nevertheless, I've had these cars for almost 20 years. Let's pull the body off of this and install the RSX. To do that, we'll grab the front wheels, pull up on the body, and that'll just slide right over. But you can see that there's little lead-ins right here. God, my hands they're so dry. All right, we'll unplug it here. Try and grab the plug as much as you can. We'll take our Acura or Honda, depending on what continent you are in, and goes in that way. And then that should just slot into place right there. You know, unfortunately, the proportions of this really are not good. It's too bad. But what I want to see is the blue lights. We'll turn the car back on. See how the headlights go. The headlights look really good. In fact, on this car appears to have the body molded in a solid color plastic and then painted. The headlights are separate acrylic pieces, and as are the taillights. Okay, and underneath, oh, these stay on. I didn't realize that. Are they on with the car? Oh, they are. Let's kill the lights. Sweet. Oh my God. Yeah, this is fantastic. I'm gonna be here a while. Really nicely molded bodies. These are painted. You can see under here some of these circuitry. These are just standard 3mm LEDs with some circuit right there, the connecting cable there. And again, they are definitely caricatures of what they should be. Swap the 70 body, and you can see for this, the headlights are, I mean, it's the actual LED you're looking at, which is great. Taillights. I'm pretty sure on Takami's 8.6, the Tofu Shop logo is only on the driver's side. And I know the wheels are wrong. This one here I think is by far the weakest. I mean, it's a really a caricature of what it should be. The Beetle is probably the best. So damage up there, but you know, it looks good. For this bit, I'm gonna shut the lights off and we'll try and get the cars to move forward. That's cool. We'll back them up now. They are showing far too much glow right now. So you can see here, it's not nearly as bad as it looks. It looks this bad because it's completely dark in here. The headlights are bright though. I mean, look at that. Put a car here and see if we can shine the light on it. In terms of size, I did want to give some scale here. Most would say that this is quote-unquote Hot Wheels scale, which is around, what, 1/64th, I think? And yeah, that's a good rule of thumb, but let's just compare that to something that I would say is Hot Wheels size. Now, although this is not a Hot Wheels product, you can see here that the width is, you know, not too far off. It's got some proportion issues, and that's all based on this chassis. So I think they did an excellent job of what they could do. You know, you take one look at this car, you know exactly what it is. Well, the stripe probably doesn't help much, but you can see here that there's definitely a proportion issue. They've done a good job. Here is the Mustang that we saw earlier, and here this is a Hot Wheels. From above, not too far off. You know, the width is a little wider, about the same length. It's from the side where you really get to see the proportion changes. And you take one look at this car, you know exactly what it is. They did a really good job of the important details. And so from the side, I would call it forgivable. There are definitely some of these cars that are not forgivable. Not so much with the SE range, more in the regular range. I don't have a more scale accurate version of this, but the 8.6 is definitely one of the cars where, yeah, it's a lot harder to forgive this one here, which is really a shame because I love these Toyotas. One more neat accessory is this little Zip Zap repair kit. And I think I've got extra stuff in here. I definitely have extra stuff in there. So it did have little tweezers. That's to get the hair out of the car. Little brush to clean the hair out of the car. Small screwdriver that we saw earlier to disassemble stuff to get the hair out of the car. And this is, I want to say this is like a pry bar. I think I've used this quite often to get the bodies off. This was great. Obviously a magnifying glass to see how dry my skin is. Very annoying. They did a really good job marketing this stuff to the right audience. You know, kids like having a little toolbox. The little car was, you know, customizable. This is the lap counter. Now, what I can't say is if this came with the track set or not, but let me show you how this works. There are 4 pieces to this. The large piece will have this other piece that slots in, and directly across from it, just like that, you will have this piece. I think, yeah, start here. See that? The way this works is that you have a sensor here and here. As the car passes here, the speed between this and this will be used to get you a speed of the car. And then you have, the more laps that you do, you'll get an average track time. You can see that you can set the lap counting. I don't know what FPM is. I want to say feet per minute, but that doesn't sound right either. Miles per hour, I think we know that. And then the lap counter. You know, it's a fun little thing. It's not brilliant, but I definitely like using it because it beeps and, you know, you can keep track of how many laps you do. When the light is on, there is an obstruction. So when the car passes it, it'll flash, or if you've got these things offset, it'll be on and it won't work properly. This takes 2 AAAs, this takes 2 AAs. It shuts off after a given time, and pressing reset will turn it back on. This one does have an on and off switch right there. This thing, it's peeling off now, but this is fantastic and can be really used for any small scale radio control car. All right, so we reset it and send the car off. So take this initial baseline and then record between that point and the next time you go around. All right, so our average car speed was 10.8 feet per minute and average lap time was 5.8 seconds. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. You've never been racing before. Oh my gosh, Sam got me. I think you might be. Oh, shoot. Oh, there's a mess. Back up, quick, turn around. Oh no, oh my gosh. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that's happening. Oh my gosh.
Did you know it went out? Oh, thank you.
We are not going this way. Oh my gosh. Go.
I'm doing.
Okay, everyone. On 3. 1, 2, 3. So the next thing I want to do is just show some of the irregularity, let's say, of how every one of these behaves. And this is not a thing that is happening due to age. This is how they were when they were brand new. I've had all 3 of these cars since new. Each car is going to go with a radio, and there would even be some irregularities between each car and the radio, but that's going to get into hours of filming. So let's just take a look at this car here. I'm going to run this car as slowly as I can and as accurately on this track as I possibly can, and I'll try and show it here. So for this car, this is as slow as it will go. And for the next car, we'll get the 8.6. It is really important that you straighten the antennas because these definitely don't respond well to poor radio reception. And you'd think that just because you're 2 feet away, it wouldn't matter. Trust me, it does. These always have to be up. That is about the car's lowest speed. Steering is a little worse on this car here. It seems to have more trouble going right than it does going left. If you catch the inside though, it will do a nice sharp turn. I swear I've seen Takumi do this before. All right, lastly, we'll do the Mustang over here. So here at the slowest setting, this car will go quite a lot slower. Sure, I'm not watching where I'm going there. Steering, I think, is also the best on this one here, but it may not be. It may just be because it's running slower. They are just about able to run around the track without touching the wall, but I mean, they really developed these radii in keeping with the car's maximum steering, I believe. That was a ton of fun. These cars really are great to drive around. You know, they're not particularly precise. They are relatively proportional, but nowadays you can definitely get something better, but for a lot more money. And again, these were, I think, like 30 or 35 bucks when they were new. So even then they weren't that expensive. But even though they were a lot of fun to drive, the question is, do you want? And that's kind of difficult. If you're going to buy one of these brand new, like this one here, you know, if you buy this brand spanking new, it's not going to work. Like I said before, the batteries are dead. I did do a video with a link in the description to show you how to replace the battery and where to get it. But you're looking at probably one of these in box. They're getting to be valuable, probably about 50 bucks or so, if not more, for something rare like the Torino. For me, you want to stay completely away from the standard Zip Zap. You want the SE. From my knowledge, an SE always has working lights, and the controllers were also very different. This is the Zip Zap SE controller. To my knowledge, this is the only controller that came with the SEs. You are definitely going to want to buy more than one if you so choose, because these are more fun played with as a group. The downside is they can only be played on a desktop. They get full of everything, and the back's not too bad to clean out, but the front is horrible. If you start getting stuff in here, it's very difficult to start cleaning that out, because this is a pin and that front hub does not come out easily, if at all. They are getting fairly old now, so you probably want to buy one that works just to make sure it works. I mean, even this one here, yes, it's brand new, but who's to say that even if you change the battery, that'll work? It's kind of hit or miss. As we saw, this one here, which I've never tried to get running before, I just kind of bought it for parts, may work. It had some life, but again, I don't know what its status is. If you are a collector of RC cars, I'd probably stay away. If you're someone that wants to play with them, then these are a good idea, because again, you can modify the heck out of them, and it's definitely something that a family can do together. You know, tuning these, I mean, heck, I can't even imagine like a scale quarter-mile drag strip would be a ball with these things here. Just keep in mind, they're not new, and they're gonna need some maintenance to keep moving. I'm really glad I was able to do this, because I've had these cars for a long time. I've always really enjoyed them. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope this was beneficial. I know there's remarkably little information on the Zip Zap SEs on really anywhere. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.